everyone, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's weekly horoscope. My name is Terence Scardino. This is going to be a powerful week of adjustments, transitions, not the best time to be making any important decisions or even like launching a business, starting a job, because on August the 30th, Mercury is going retrograde until September the 22nd. Mercury is that planet of your expectations. It gathers information. It's that planet of decision making. And about 3 times a year when it goes retrograde, you may not have all the facts and information to make the right decision. It's also a time that you might be building mountains out of molehills. It can certainly trigger a lot of misunderstandings and miscommunications. But I find that the worst of the Mercury in retrograde snafus are happening the several days around when it turns retrograde this week, and when it also then turns direct, those couple of days around September the 22nd. Those are when you will see the most breakdown in communications and where there might be more of a disappointment in your expectations. But there's more than just the Mercury in retrograde, because on Thursday, September the 1st, is a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Virgo, and it is taught that you should not be making any important life decisions the week before to the week after an eclipse, and especially with this week is when Mercury is turning retrograde. An eclipse can either just pull something out of your life. In other words, it eclipses. It's the darkening of the light. So what you had counted on, jobs, money, relationships, depending on how it affects your individual chart, there could be this unexpected change ending. But it's not always negative, because it could also just unexpectedly bring in a whole new event, a whole new chapter in your life. But this solar eclipse is in exact opposition to Neptune and forming a 90-degree angle to Saturn. In fact, when I've been talking about the Neptune-Saturn square that's been going on since last November, it happened again in June, and this September is the last peak of it. And it's always a time of having to face our fears. It's a time of a lot of anxiety. It can be favorable if you can dissolve your limitations and your fears and work through them. It's just that having the solar eclipse exactly triggering this Saturn-Neptune square is bringing this lesson right to the surface. And then with Mercury in retrograde, can be a good time to really reflect and on where your life is and where it's going. A time of making these revisions, these adjustments, retooling your life, just changing your mind and readjusting the course. But let's talk about something a little more pleasant. This solar eclipse and the Mercury in retrograde is not all bad, but it's very nerve-wracking, and there's all this transitional adjusting energy. So the best advice is don't start anything important. Don't make any important decisions until the dust settles. Give it a couple of weeks. But the good news is that pleasure-seeking relational Venus moves into the sign of Libra on Monday, the 29th, and it'll be there for those next several weeks. Venus does very well in the sign of Libra, because Venus is the planet that's associated with Libra. Libra likes balance and fairness. It's creative. It likes to be in relationships. And those are all the qualities of Venus. So Venus can shine more or give more of its good results. And this is really going to help matters a lot for most people because it's going to bring some equilibrium, some fairness. Yeah, there's a lot of change going on, but that Venus in Libra can bring in some diplomacy, seeking a more fairness and win-win situation. So you just want to really pace yourself and go slow. Keep your make sure you're when somebody's communicating that you heard what maybe repeat back. This is what I think I heard you say. Make sure that you're nailing down all the facts and figures and information. Pace yourself, and you should be good to go. But still, this can be a month that's triggering this week of a lot of major adjustments. So you need to be flexible, you need to be adaptable, you need to be able to go with the flow, and most of you should be okay. So before I tune off or sign off, again, let me remind you I'm available to answer one question on the Astrology Answers website for a nominal fee. It's always important, as I keep reminding people, to give your time of birth or an approximate time of birth and actually put the birth data into the message again to make sure I have it accurate. So thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next week for my next segment. And just stay calm, be safe, and this too shall pass.